Welcome back, everyone. I'm Haunted Myth, and tonight we're diving into 3 true, terrifying beach horror stories. The beach is usually a place of joy, but sometimes it becomes the setting for something far darker. These aren't just tales. They're real accounts of people who went to the shore and encountered the unexplainable. Viewer discretion is advised. Let's begin. The Outer Banks of North Carolina, a string of barrier islands, beautiful, wild, and steeped in maritime history. But beneath the sun-drenched beaches and charming seaside towns lies a darker current, a whisper of forgotten tragedies and restless spirits. Our first story unfolds on these haunting shores where the line between reality and legend blurs with every crashing wave. Mark and Chloe, a young couple seeking a romantic escape from the pressures of city life, decided to rent an old beach house for a long weekend. It was a charming, albeit slightly dilapidated structure, its weathered facade hinting at countless stories witnessed over the decades. Little did they know, this idyllic retreat was steeped in local legend, a place where the past refused to stay buried. The house was filled with nautical trinkets, remnants of a life intertwined with the sea. While exploring the dusty shelves, Chloe discovered an old, leather-bound book of local folklore, a collection of ghost stories and maritime tragedies passed down through generations. Within its brittle pages, she stumbled upon a tragic tale, the story of Eliza, a woman who lost her love, a fisherman, to the unforgiving sea in the late 1800s. Consumed by grief, she wandered the beaches, calling out his name until she, too, vanished without a trace, swallowed by the same waves that claimed her beloved. Now her whispers are said to haunt the coast, a mournful lament carried on the wind, forever searching for her lost love. At first it was just a story, a chilling tale to add a bit of spice to their romantic getaway. Until one evening, as they stood on the porch listening to the ocean, Mark heard something else, a faint, ethereal sound. A woman's voice carried on the wind, softly, chillingly, whispering his name. The next day, while walking along the beach, the couple found a weathered wooden box, half buried in the sand. Inside, they discovered a water-stained journal, its pages filled with frantic handwriting. It was the diary of a previous guest, a man who had stayed in the same beach house years before, and who had been tormented by the same whispers, the same chilling voice, and an overwhelming sense of grief and despair. As the days passed, each night, the voice grew clearer, more insistent, no longer just a whisper but a desperate plea, calling specifically for Mark, singling him out, beckoning him, pulling him toward the dark, churning ocean, promising solace and reunion. Fear, cold and sharp, pressed in on them, and a sorrow so profound it felt like a physical weight, suffocating them, threatening to drag them under. They couldn't bear it any longer. They packed their bags frantically in the dead of night. Desperate to escape the oppressive atmosphere, they fled before dawn, the whispers chasing them, a haunting echo in the darkness, all the way to the car. Back home, miles away from the Outer Banks, the oppressive sadness gradually faded. The constant feeling of dread lessened, but Mark was never quite the same. The experience had left an indelible mark on his soul, haunted by phantom voices that only he could hear, and a deep, unsettling dread of the sea, a constant reminder of what he had almost lost. The Outer Banks keeps its secrets close, shrouded in mist and whispered on the wind, but Mark and Chloe know with chilling certainty that the legend of Eliza, the drowned whisperer, is terrifyingly real. Some say it's just the wind playing tricks, the mournful cry of the gulls, the restless sigh of the ocean, but if you ever find yourself on those shores and you ever hear your name whispered from the waves on a dark and lonely night, don't answer. Don't even acknowledge it. The drowned whisperer is still out there, lost and alone, forever searching, waiting for someone, anyone, to listen to her sorrowful tale, to share her eternal grief. Some legends are cautionary tales meant to entertain and perhaps frighten, but ultimately harmless. Some legends are warnings. This one is not a warning, this one is a threat. Our next story takes us to the breathtaking island of Kauai, Hawaii, a place of stunning natural beauty and ancient mystique. It's a land where the veil between worlds feels thin, where legends whisper on the wind, and where respect for the past is not just a tradition, but a necessity. We delve into a chilling account, a stark reminder that some places hold secrets best left undisturbed. where four college friends, eager to escape the pressures of academia and immerse themselves in the island's allure, decided to camp on the remote and seemingly idyllic Polyhell Beach. This secluded stretch of sand, known for its dramatic cliffs and stunning sunsets, offered the perfect backdrop for their adventure. Little did they know their carefree getaway would soon turn into a terrifying encounter with the island's dark side. Before setting up camp, they were warned by several locals to respect the land, to honor its history, and above all, to stay quiet after dark. They were told stories of the night marchers, the spirits of ancient Hawaiian warriors who roamed the island, especially after nightfall. These spectral figures are said to be fiercely protective of their sacred grounds. But fueled by youthful bravado and a sense of invincibility, they shrugged it off, dismissing the warnings as mere folklore and superstitious tales. They were young, adventurous, and convinced that such legends held no power over them. They enjoyed their evening, laughing, sharing stories, and soaking in the beauty of the Hawaiian night, until midnight, when the atmosphere began to shift. It started subtly, with a faint, distant drumming, a rhythmic pulse that seemed to emanate from the very earth beneath them. Then, a chilling sound cut through the night, the mournful echo of a conch shell, its resonant call carrying across the sand, amplifying the growing sense of unease. The sound seemed to vibrate in their very bones, a primal warning that something was amiss. Driven by a mixture of curiosity and apprehension, Liam and Noah, the two most adventurous of the group, decided to investigate, grabbing a flashlight and venturing out into the darkness. They scanned the beach with the beam of their flashlight, finding only darkness, an impenetrable void that seemed to swallow the light itself. The drumming grew louder, more insistent, and the air crackled with an unseen energy. And then something truly inexplicable happened. Footprints began to appear in the sand, seemingly out of nowhere. These were not the footprints of any living person. They marched past them, an invisible presence making its way across the beach, a silent procession of the unseen. The sight of these phantom footprints shattered their bravado. Terrified, they fled back to the campsite, adrenaline coursing through their veins. A wave of panic washed over them as they frantically began to pack up their belongings, desperate to escape the beach and the unseen forces that haunted it. The drumming and the conch shell grew louder with each passing second, as if the entities were closing in. As they sped away in their jeep, glancing back in the rearview mirror, Liam glimpsed something that would forever haunt his nightmares. Ghostly figures, ancient Hawaiian warriors, the night marchers, floating silently above the sand, their spectral forms shimmering in the moonlight before vanishing into the darkness. Shaken to their core, they returned to town and recounted their terrifying experience to the locals, who listened with grave expressions. They explained that to see the night marchers is to invite death, or at the very least, misfortune. It is a sign that you have trespassed on sacred ground and disrespected the ancient spirits. You must never look at them, they warned. To do so is to invite their attention and seal your fate. Weeks later, a chilling confirmation of the legend's power unfolded. Noah disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only unanswered questions and a lingering sense of dread. He was last seen acting strangely, increasingly agitated and haunted by the sound of drums that only he could hear, a constant reminder of their fateful night on Polyhell Beach. The remaining friends were left with an unbearable burden of guilt and terror, forever haunted by the events of that night. They were convinced that the night marchers had claimed Noah as punishment for their disrespect, a sacrifice demanded by the ancient spirits. Kauai's breathtaking beauty often masks the ancient dangers that lurk beneath the surface. The legend of the night marchers is not just a story, it's a living reality, and the price for breaking the rules is steep, sometimes even fatal. So if you ever find yourself on Kauai and you hear the distant drumming, heed the warnings. Show respect for the land and its ancient spirits. Never look directly at the source of the sound. Never follow the drums, no matter how tempting it may be. Some vanish without a trace, their fates sealed by a moment of carelessness, claimed by legends older than memory, lost to the mists of time. The night marchers still walk the beaches of Kauai, searching for those who disrespect the land and its traditions, forever vigilant, forever seeking retribution. Some warnings are not mere suggestions. They are meant to be heeded, for the consequences of ignoring them can be far more terrifying than you can imagine. Our final story takes us to the rugged and often unforgiving coast of Oregon, a place where the veil between worlds seems thin, and the echoes of the past linger in the sea air. It's a land of dramatic cliffs, hidden coves, and a coastline perpetually shrouded in mist and mystery. It was here, amidst this breathtaking yet treacherous landscape, that an experienced kayaker named Ben decided to embark on a solo adventure. Ben was no stranger to the sea. He possessed a deep respect for its power and a keen understanding of its unpredictable nature. His goal was to explore the intricate network of sea caves that dotted the coastline. Natural cathedrals carved by the relentless pounding of the ocean waves over millennia. These caves, some easily accessible, others hidden behind treacherous currents and submerged rocks, held a particular allure for Ben. As Ben paddled further from shore, a thick, impenetrable fog began to roll in, blanketing the sea and obscuring the coastline. The temperature dropped noticeably, and an eerie silence descended, broken only by the rhythmic splash of his paddle and the distant cry of a seagull. It was then, as he navigated through the swirling mist, that Ben heard it. A chilling scream emanating from a narrow, almost hidden cave entrance. The scream was undeniably human, filled with desperation, agony, and a raw, primal fear that sent shivers down his spine. It was a sound that spoke of unimaginable suffering, a sound that clawed its way into the deepest recesses of his mind. Without hesitation, Ben reached for his marine radio, his hands trembling slightly as he keyed the microphone. He immediately radioed the Coast Guard, relaying the chilling details of what he had heard and providing his precise location, hoping against hope that they could reach the source of the scream in time. Within minutes, a Coast Guard cutter arrived on the scene, and a team of rescue swimmers bravely entered the dark and treacherous cave, their flashlights cutting through the gloom. They searched every nook and cranny, their voices echoing against the damp cave walls. But their search yielded nothing. No person, no sign of a struggle, no evidence whatsoever to explain the horrifying scream that Ben had heard. The cave was empty, save for the relentless crashing of waves and the eerie silence that followed each surge. Just an unsettling, profound silence. Shaken and bewildered, Ben returned to shore, where he recounted his experience to some of the local fishermen. It was then that he learned the chilling legend of the Screaming Cave. Decades ago, during a particularly violent storm, a fishing boat had been caught in the treacherous currents and dashed against the rocks near the cave. The lone fisherman aboard was thrown into the churning water, his desperate cries for help swallowed by the roar of the storm and the relentless pounding of the waves. He was never seen again, his body lost to the unforgiving sea. The locals whispered that on foggy days, particularly during the anniversary of the storm, people still hear his agonizing screams echoing from the cave, carried on the wind and amplified by the unique acoustics of the rocky coastline. A tormented ghost forever reliving his final terrifying moments. It dawned on Ben with chilling certainty that he hadn't heard the cry of a living person in distress, but the anguished wail of a spirit forever trapped in the cave, doomed to endlessly replay its final moments of terror. Ben, deeply disturbed by his experience, never returned to that particular stretch of the Oregon coast. He remained haunted by the vivid memory of those chilling screams, a constant reminder of the unseen forces that lurk beneath the surface of our reality. The Screaming Cave remains a chilling warning to all who venture near. Some places, scarred by tragedy, hold on to pain with an unyielding grip, forever replaying the echoes of suffering for anyone who dares to listen. While officials often attribute the sounds to the wind whistling through the rocks, creating eerie acoustics, those who have truly heard the screams know that there is something far more sinister at play. So the next time you find yourself near a coastal cave and you hear a desperate cry for help carried on the wind, pause for a moment and ask yourself, who is really screaming, and from what realm does that agony originate? Some tragedies leave an indelible mark on the landscape, their echoes resonating through time. They reverberate endlessly within the hidden chambers of our world, a haunting reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring power of the past. The Oregon coast, with its dramatic beauty and its hidden darkness, keeps its ghosts close, cradling their stories in the mist and the waves. And some voices, lost to the sea and to time, are destined to never be truly silenced. their cries forever etched into the very fabric of the coastline. So beware the screaming cave, and listen closely to the whispers of the Oregon coast, for they may carry a tale you were never meant to hear. The ocean's edge is a border between worlds, one we barely understand. These stories remind us that not all beach dangers are physical, some are ancient, unseen, and hungry. So next time you walk a lonely shore, listen closely, respect the legends, stay alert, because you never know what's waiting just beyond the waves. Like and subscribe for more true horror stories. And remember, some places never let go.